Hello. In this video, I will show how to define rigid columns under a rectangular foundation. I click the Selection Mode button in the Definition menu. Then I double-click the rectangular foundation I added before. This opens the Foundation Properties window. To enter Deep Foundation settings, I enable the Deep Foundation Soil Improvement option. Then I open the Deep Foundation Soil Improvement tab. On the right, we select the rigid column type to be defined under the foundation. Here you can find cast-in-place reinforced concrete piles, micropiles, jet grout, and deep mixing columns. For this video, I select cast-in-place reinforced concrete pile. Now let's define the fields on the left. This section is used to enter the rigid column dimensions. Sx is the center-to-center spacing of the columns in the x direction. Below, we see the center-to-center spacing in the y direction. To change the spacing, we enter m for the x direction and n for the y direction. As soon as I enter this value, Sx updates automatically. Let's enter 4 meters in the x direction and 5 meters in the y direction. Based on the entered m and n values, the total number of columns is shown. Below, we can change the column diameter. I set the diameter to 0.60 meters. Below that, we enter the column length. I set the column length to 8 meters. Now let's review the material properties section. Here, we enter the elastic modulus and Poisson's ratio of the rigid column. The program mainly uses these values for pile-type columns. For columns such as deep mixing and jet grouting, the mechanical properties are defined in the material properties. We will cover this in later videos. Below, you can see a factor used for the tip bearing capacity of the rigid column. This value depends on the soil properties at the column tip. The explanation on the right provides guidance for this input. Now let's review values such as the section area and perimeter based on the entered dimensions. These values are calculated automatically from the entered dimensions. The block area value is used in Terzaghi block bearing capacity calculations, and it is calculated automatically by the program. In the same way, the block perimeter is also calculated automatically. Now let's click the Apply buttons to save the changes. The rigid columns defined under the foundation are now visible in 3D. To filter object visibility on the screen, I open the View menu. This helps us review the objects more clearly. First, I disable the Show Soil Layers option. This filters out the soil profile. Then I disable the Show Boreholes option. Now the boreholes are also hidden. I disable the Show Shallow Foundations as Solid option. Now the foundations are displayed as transparent. This way, you can see the column spacing and the number of columns more clearly. Now I enable all the options again. Now let's return to the foundation properties and change the pile spacing. After clicking selection mode, I double-click the foundation again and return to the deep foundation properties. Here, I set the pile length to 9 meters. I reduce the number of piles in the Y direction to 3. Then I click the Apply buttons to save the changes. I disable the Show Shallow Foundations as Solid option again. As you can see, you can quickly resize the rigid column group this way. Thank you for watching.